Trustees, we have before us as our first item this evening a second briefing and board action on the Dottie Davis naming recommendation. And I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Swift to introduce this item. Thank you, Dr. Swift.
Well, good evening, trustees and members of the community. Thank you, President Stead. I'll wait for this. There it comes. It is a great day in the Ann Arbor Public Schools as we come together this evening to honor Miss Dottie Davis. Why don't we start with a big round for her? Yay. It is my honor and great pleasure to bring this item before the board for your consideration in second briefing this evening. In tribute to Miss Dottie Davis and as a representation of her significant and meaningful legacy in our community, to recommend the naming of the Huron High School softball field in honor of Miss Dottie Davis. Leader, coach, mentor, trailblazer, advocate, role model, colleague, friend. These are just a few of the descriptors that so many in the community may use to describe Dottie. She's welcoming, generous, good-natured, smiling always, humble, indefatigable. She is that way. I can't say the word, but she is that way. Dottie is a presence, always caring for her beloved Huron students, staff, and community. But I think you'll agree with me that whatever label or adjective that folks use to describe Dottie, all of us would agree that she is an icon. She embodies the very best of what it means to be a Huron River rat. Yes. In fact, Dottie, many of us don't want just to be better in order to be like Dottie Davis. I and we just want to be Dottie Davis. And Dottie, we want to be you because we want to see ourselves through your eyes, because we know the love with which you always see others. You see and you bring out the very best in all of us, all of your students, and all throughout our community. Not everybody realizes it, but you were a Title IX trailblazer. Isn't that phenomenal? And you leave a legacy of leadership and achievement. I know that you have shared so much of yourself over so many years with so many students and staff and community members that I know tonight there is a little bit of you deposited into the thousands of folks and students that you have influenced. And I'll tell you, that is the thing that gives me hope for our future. Someone has said, in the end, though, maybe we must all give up trying to pay back the people in this world who sustain our lives. In the end, maybe it's wiser to surrender before the miraculous scope of human generosity and just to keep saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. Forever and sincerely, as long as we have voices. So I know tonight, Huron, the Ann Arbor Public Schools, our Board of Education, and all of Ann Arbor joins with us to say, thank you, thank you, thank you, Miss Dottie Davis. Mr. Angelis, our Executive Director of High Schools.
Thank you, Dr. Swift. And I just want to follow those amazing remarks by just sharing a little bit about Dottie before we bring up some people who are very near and dear to her, who she has asked to speak on her behalf tonight. As you know, and I presented to this Board of Education just a few weeks ago, that Dottie began her teaching career here in the Ann Arbor Public Schools in 1981. She taught physical education. She was a department chair for several years through 2006, and in 2006, she became the athletic director here at Huron High School and has performed those duties with just the highest level of service. You have seen a book that has numerous letters from community members, but there are some of her personal accomplishments that I think are worth repeating, and I want to share some of that with you. Dottie's personal accomplishments and recognitions date back to her time as an athlete at Eastern Michigan University. If those in the room don't know, Dottie received a full athletic scholarship and earned 10 varsity letters in volleyball, softball, basketball, and track. She was inducted into the Eastern Michigan University Hall of Fame in 1990. Dottie's also been named to several all-world softball teams and won 13 national softball championships. Dottie was a 1985 inductee into the USSSA Softball Hall of Fame with special recognition as a member of the all-time, all-world USSSA Hall of Fame. She was also a 1986 inductee into the Michigan Hall of Fame. In 2001, Dottie was a member of the inaugural class of the Ann Arbor Huron High School Hall of Fame in recognition of her coaching, tenure, and success. She coached 15 seasons of softball. She was the varsity coach from 93 to 96, and again from 2004 to 2007. Dottie was the head coach for volleyball for 4 seasons and also coached basketball from 1980 to 1986. Recently, Dottie was recognized by the Michigan Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association with her MIAAA 10-Year Service Award, and just a couple of months ago, on March 19th, she became just the 30th recipient of the Michigan High School Athletic Association's Women in Sports Leadership Award. She received that award. In an interview related to that award, here's what Dottie said. "I love being a pioneer," and I joked, not that kind of pioneer. "I loved being a pioneer and trying to make it better for those that follow. I have such a passion for sports, and I want them to be the best for both male and female athletes. I'm glad women are now finally getting the recognition that they deserve." Here tonight are several speakers, and I want to introduce them, and then they'll just follow each other as they come up. Current Huron High School Principal, Dr. Janet Schwamb. Former high school principal, Dr. Arthur Williams. Mr. Waleed Samaha, Dr. Denise Eaddy-Richardson, Ms. Kim Waddell, Ms. Andrea Martin, and Dottie's spouse, Ms. Anita Epperly. At this time, I'd like to turn over the podium to Dr. Schwamb.
Thank you, Mr. DeAngelis. Good evening, trustees, President Stead, Dr. Swift. As you know, this year completes Dottie Davis's 36th year at Huron High School. Dottie was a PE teacher and a coach for 24 years, and for the past 12 years, Dottie Davis has been an assistant principal and athletic director at Huron. I have had the distinct pleasure to come to know Dottie very well over the past 3 years. When I arrived at Huron, Dottie Davis and Marcus Edmondson greeted me in the parking lot with open arms, extending a warm river rat welcome. Dottie then proceeded to move me into my office, followed by a very enthusiastic tour of Huron High School. Dottie is a doer. She does whatever it takes to get the job done. It didn't take me long to understand that Dottie's love for and commitment to Huron is central to who she is. In addition to her athletic director responsibilities, Dottie is actively involved in instructional and international baccalaureate activities. She is all about being a team player. She is collaborative, cooperative, and supportive of her administrative team members. Dottie can be seen visiting classrooms, coaching teachers, and interacting with students on a regular basis. Most days, Dottie can be seen proudly wearing Huron athletic wear. Anyone who knows her realizes she is the consummate river rat. Dottie works long hours after the school day ends, oftentimes 6 days a week, going to all of the games that are played. Her energy is abounding, truly, and her stamina is unmatched. Students can be heard chanting Dottie Davis, which is a common place at football and basketball games. Students and staff simply love Dottie. What's not to love? Dottie pours her heart and soul into everything she does. She's all about relationships. This is most evident in her daily interactions with students, staff, and parents. Dottie is kind, caring, and compassionate. She cares deeply about others. Just recently, she paid for new tires for a person who had their car pulled over by the police on Fuller Road. When she heard that the person driving the car couldn't afford new tires, she immediately responded, returning minutes later, giving the driver of the car money to purchase new tires. This is just what Dottie's about. I am proud not only to call Dottie Davis a colleague, but also to call her my friend. I treasure the relationship that we have developed and love my daily interactions with her. While I know that she's eyes retirement, I simply can't imagine Huron without her. Naming the softball field in Dottie's honor is truly fitting. Doing so recognizes her years of service to Ann Arbor Public Schools and to Huron High School. It will also continue to remind us of the qualities and characteristics that make Dottie so very special. Above all, this will allow her to continue to serve as a role model to student athletes who will walk across the softball field and proudly read the Dottie D. Davis softball field. Thank you.
Good evening, President Stead, Board of Trustees, Dr. Swift. It's indeed a pleasure for me to speak about Dottie Davis this evening. I've known Dottie for now almost a quarter. As I thought about what I would say to you this evening, I said I've known Dottie for almost a quarter of a century. And in that time, I've come to know her quite well. Through the many athletic banquets that we've sat and broken bread, we traveled together. As I look at Waleed over here, we traveled to Illinois with Marcus, and we spent a week together in the hotel with students. We traveled to the Breslin Center, before, with the team. And so I really got the chance to really know Dottie over those 23 years. She's a very special individual, but let me tell you why I say that. You've heard a lot of things about what makes a person special and what makes a person great. And as I thought about that, I said, many teachers and staff members are very competent in what they do. They know how to teach. But the characteristic that distinguishes the greatness is the humanness of the individuals. And when you put all of those things together at an exceptional level, you have Dottie Davis. Dottie has been a supporter, in those, because I selected Dottie as the athletic director in my tenure, and that was a magnificent decision. I say that was a great decision.
Good job.
One of the things about I think in being a principal is that you make the kinds of decisions that you make. You have great people and you let them do their job, and that's what Dottie does. Dottie is here. We have over 23 different sports teams. And it's a very complex organization to master. Because you have coaches, numerous coaches. You have numerous games that you have to organize. All of these different things, you have to do. And Dottie does it so well. She's just everywhere. As I thought about what I'd say to you, no matter what time of day, Dottie is there. She's on this gator. You know what a gator is? Kind of an ATV vehicle that kind of goes around the campus. And there you'll find Dottie, checking on all the different, if it's soccer, if it's lacrosse, or if it's baseball. There's Dottie on this, on this vehicle. And as I said, I think one of the reasons that Anita came forward is because she had to become a part of the workforce here to see Dottie. But let me tell you a little bit about Dottie also. She's a very special, as she was, she instituted an adaptive PE class while I was here because she cared about our special needs kids, and she felt that those special needs kids needed to have physical education. But that was Dottie. She was taking care of all the kids here, not only the kids in athletics, but the kids, and the kids in our special needs kids, they love Dottie. You'll see them hanging on her, as she walked around the campus. And that's the kind of person Dottie Davis is, And, other kinds of things that Dottie, whenever we had students who could not afford athletic fees, it's no problem here at Huron because Dottie was going to make sure that everybody was going to be able to play. And she would raise the funds for those students. If students couldn't go on a bus to a game, Dottie made sure that we had students would go on the bus. But this is Dottie Davis, and this is why Dottie is such a special person to us. The special things that she does. Let me give you some other examples of what Dottie does. In the Relay for Life, she's an active participant where she was raising funds for cancer. Dottie, on numerous occasions, as I said, as we traveled, in my short 23 years that I known Dottie, Dottie has become a very, very special friend to me. We always talked. She's always been a supporter. She's always loved this institution of Huron. She bleeds green. One of the chants that always goes through if it's in front of the bleachers or in the stadium is Dottie Davis, Dottie Davis. As the students chant, the other chant is greenhouse. Whose house? This is a response, and when the students respond, a call and response type of situation. But it's been a special relationship with Dottie and I over the years. I found that Dottie, you could compliment her on a lot of things. She's fantastic. She's competent. She's a woman of principles, a truly moral woman, honest, and had great integrity. These things were all obvious to you about Dottie, and what a woman Dottie is. The only true riches that a person has in life is friends, and Dottie has been a friend of mine. It's the way that she does this job, the humanity she brings to the institution, and what a great honor it is to name the softball field after Dottie Davis. Dottie, congratulations, and you've well-deserved honor, and you make me proud, and you make this institution proud. You make your family proud. You're just a fantastic individual. Thank you, Dottie.
Good evening, Dr. Swift, Board of Education, friends and family of Dottie Davis. Great honor to be back at Huron High School, where I spent many, many years, and had the privilege to work with so many wonderful people. And obviously, Dottie goes to the top of that list. Typically, board members have tough decisions to make. On a night like tonight, I think this one's going to be easy for you. We're going to throw you a pitch right down the middle. Okay? You guys will be able to hit that one right out of the park. So, Dr. Swift, in your opening remarks, you mentioned a number of terms that we may hear tonight, and they were all accurate. I want to add one word to that, and that's love. Dottie loves Huron. She loves AAPS. She loves her coaches. She loves the staff here. She loves her students. And it shows in everything that she does, shows in every part of her work, and it shows in every part of the actions that she commits each day towards people. John Maxwell, who is a prominent author and speaker on the topic of leadership, talks about leadership being about influence. And I can't imagine Huron High School without the influence of Dottie Davis. She's had a great influence on everyone and everything that happens here at Huron High School. Probably the impact that she's had where it is seen most, and it's been referred to a couple of times, is with her students. I mean, you go your whole career and you develop relationships with kids, and it's pretty cool that when you attend, if you've attended a game, you've heard those cheers, and you know how much her students care about her. Dottie is an enthusiastic fan of those students. And when you are a fan of your students, those students know it and they feel it and they show it. And then we got to see that. And during the time that I was here, Dottie does a great job with her coaches. Dottie coaches her coaches. And I think that's really important. She'll support you. And if you're doing something that isn't in line with the mission and the values of the school, she'll redirect you. Not just to point out what you're doing wrong. Her intention is to make sure you get it right. And that was her leadership style. And that was a style that a lot of coaches responded well to. She was a counselor to parents and lended an ear to parents. And again, being one of the most enthusiastic fans at any sporting event that you could see. I've spent many nights, and Dr. Williams can attest to this, and Marcus Edmondson can attest to this. We've stood on the sidelines for many games, many sporting events, and she's right there in the action. A couple times when the action got too close, you know, football player might be running close to the out of bounds line where we're standing, and we're all getting out of the way, and Dottie's getting in position. You know, that kid might have took one more step, she might have laid him out. But at the end of all of this, it really comes back to love. It really does. And the way that we get to show our love for Dottie is to name that softball field after her. And I look forward to the vote, and I look forward to driving up to the corner of Huron Parkway and Fuller and seeing her name on that backstop, and that'll be a great thing for this community. Thank you.
Good evening, Dr. Swift, members of the Board of Education, Dottie, your family. Well, you know, when I think of Dottie Davis, I really want to know, and I should have asked you this a long time ago, what is that vitamin that you take that allows you to work endless hours with such great, boundless enthusiasm? I want that vitamin, okay? Dr. Swift, you mentioned you want to grow up and be like Dottie. Me too. Me too. The only problem is we're the same age, so I don't know if it's going to happen for me. What can you say about Dottie? Dottie is kid-friendly, she's engaging, she's embracing, and everybody that I talk to, but when I said, what should I say about Dottie? She's genuine. She is just the same person in every venue. When Dottie greets me, it's like an invitation for me to perk up and enjoy my day. She has just that much enthusiasm. And the word has been said over and over again that she is caring, that she loves her students, and she does. She loves the staff, she does. She loves her fellow administrators, she does. We all know it. And she even loves parents in their good days and on their bad days. And we know how hard it is for parents sometimes to contain themselves regarding their student athletes. We know it's hard. But Dottie does it, and she does it with such grace that it's amazing. She never lacks enthusiasm. She is dyed green and gold. It runs through her blood, I believe all the way to the depths of her soul. She is a river rat exemplified at its highest standard. When I came here about 19 years ago, I had never seen Dottie Davis. But when I was scheduling kids and they say, well, who is that that's going to teach that personal fitness class or that team sports class or that weightlifting class? And I'd say, well, the teacher is Dottie Davis. That's great, Dottie. You know? So I started wondering, well, you know, I got to know this person because I want to know what these kids are so hyped up about with regard to this Dottie. Well, I came soon to know that what the kids were responding to was the unconditional love that Dottie exudes. Because that's what builds the relationships. And Dottie, you just have wonderful relationships in this building and in this community. And it is so fitting that the softball field is named after you. I'm just glad to be a part of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity to talk about something that I'm completely passionate about. It's an honor and a privilege to be here, and I do represent the other side of town this evening. I've known Dottie as an elite National Hall of Fame softball player. Back in the day, if you had the pleasure of watching the infamous nationally known World Championship team Little Caesars compete, then you had the memories laced with the remarkable, unparalleled softball talent of Dottie Davis. In the 70s, athletic competition was different for women. Not only was Dottie someone everyone knew and envied, she was the bar that all aspiring softball players dreamed of reaching. She was larger than life. Her personality gave a warmth to the sport, and she quickly became a fan favorite. You wanted to see her succeed because just when you thought she was great, she taught us what it looked like to be awesome. I'm not far behind Dottie chronologically, so everywhere I traveled in my own softball endeavors, like EMU for example, Dottie had already blazed the trail of greatness. So now we have an elite slow pitch player who has become one of the best in the nation, and now she etched herself in the EMU Hall of Fame as an incredible fast pitch softball player. Now I can say I know Dottie Davis. That holds a lot of weight in the athletic community, so much so that one day I had not met Dottie. I knew of Dottie. I watched her play. I was not talented enough to run in her softball circles. But my best friend and I were at Briarwood Mall, and there's Dottie. And my best friend, Nanette Push, says to me, "That's Dottie Davis." I'm like, oh my God, it's Dottie Davis. So I just kind of stood there, and she said, "Let me introduce you." And so Dottie comes up, and Dottie says to me, as Nanette's introducing me, aren't you Kim Waddell? Because Dottie followed EMU sports because that's what she's like, and she knew everybody who came before and after her. So I was like really excited, and I was saying, I'm kind of looking for a coaching job. She goes, "Hey, here's what you're gonna do. I know Helen Connolly over at Pioneer High School." And I'm like, "Well, where's that?" Because I wasn't familiar with the area. I had just finished playing ball for Eastern. And she said, "It's across from U of M Stadium. I'll make a call. They're hiring a JV coach. Go ahead and put your application in. I'll give Helen a call." Well, that's what she did. And I got in as the JV coach, and then shortly after that as the varsity coach, where I stayed for 22 years, simply because I knew Dottie Davis. So I'm forever grateful for that, and so is Pioneer. So she was always willing to help someone out, and I really do appreciate that. It's who you know in this world. Dottie and I share a passion for softball. It's a hunger. It's in our blood. Perhaps this is what I found to be most notable about her. In my career, I had the chance to coach against her for many years in what you could call a crosstown rivalry. With that being said, for as aggressively as we wanted to win and outsmart one another, Dottie set the tone for a very high level of sportsmanship that appealed to her kids, the umps, the fans, me, my players, and the Pioneer parents. It's how she carries herself. It's pride. It's how she speaks, explains, debates, and motivates. People feel as if they know her because of her legendary status, and then they meet her. And one quickly realizes that her personality is contagious. Everyone she meets and greets is made to feel special by her genuine interest in finding out what makes that person tick. It's a God-given gift to be the great athlete she is, but it's a choice to be kind, respectful, dedicated, driven, and committed. It's all about character, she will tell you. And to that end, I have found that she walks the walk of all the gently and enthusiastic she walks the walk of all she gently and enthusiastically teaches and preaches. She spreads goodness and shares her gifts, insight, and positive attitude with her student athletes and colleagues. She's been an advocate for many student athletes and guided many of these kids to the next level to continue their careers from all surrounding schools, not just her own. Huron High School, Dottie Davis. You can't think of one without thinking of the other. It's her domain. She's green and gold to the core, and she wouldn't want it any other way. As a coach myself, I cannot think of a better honor to adequately express to Dottie all the love and gratitude the Ann Arbor sports community has for her. A softball field, her former playground, her sacred space, a game she mastered with grace and fierceness combined. I'm sure Dottie would walk through the halls of Huron, the gym, the pool, and the dome, and the memories will be abundant. But I'm sure there's no greater memories than the sound of the bat crunching a ball or watching her kids turn a double play. Sunshine, fresh brown dirt, white lines, beautiful dugouts, and now a sign that will forever so appropriately bear her name, Dottie Davis. No greater honor, and there's no one who could possibly appreciate it more than this deserving teacher, coach, athletic director, and my friend. Goodness shall always be celebrated. Congratulations, Dottie, and thank you to all of those who've made this possible. Congratulations, Dottie.
Okay. I want to first start off by saying thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to speak about Dottie, who is very special to me personally, as she is for all of these people. I was asked, however, and I'm sure this is very unconventional, but to read a letter from Miss Karen Carey, who's a mutual friend of ours and who was supposed to speak here today. And I couldn't say no because I was in her dentist chair and she had pointy things at me. And I wouldn't say no because of Dottie. So I'm going to read it word for word, so bear with me. She said, "To Dottie, hopefully Andrea Martin, one of your players, can read this to you. We talked about what you would stand for in the dental chair. Only a family wedding is preventing me from being here to honor you in person. We have spent many years together in athletics. I think that we go back to when rats roamed the earth, or at least the Huron River Basin. We met when I came home from college, an alumni rat, and helped you coach my little sister. Since then, I've coached with you, for you, thankfully never against you. You taught me that winning isn't everything, though. I was much more of the Vince Lombardi-ish side of sports. Loyal to your players, your coaches, and your school, you always gave us a second chance to be better people and better athletes. You coached and mentored my 4 daughters, my sister, and you have inspired thousands of Huron students to always be the best that they can be. Not that I'm suggesting you are soft. A more competitive person has never walked the planet. You excelled as an athlete, and you liked those W's. Do we need more female head coaches in Huron women varsity sports? Yes. But do I always think of you as a mentor, friend, and fellow competitive athlete? Always. I've been with you at multiple Huron District, regional, state championships, and we've experienced the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat together. Each championship has been awesome to celebrate with you, your players and your coaches. The only recognition I've ever seen you get is the time at Applebee's where the staff asked you to sign their wall of Huron sports, go D3. But you deserve so much more than that. It is only fitting that we give you a field of green to go with your heart of gold. As Winston Churchill once said, we make a living by what we get, we make a life by what we give. You have given everything you have to Huron athletics and to the young men and women who have played for our school, Dottie. Proud to know you, and go Rats forever on the Dottie Davis Field of Dreams. And that was Karen Carey. Okay. And now, I have a few things for you, Dottie. I wasn't quite sure exactly what to say, but I thought it would be fitting to at least explain my background with Dottie. So, I first heard of Dottie at a very early age. I grew up with my dad telling me stories about how he coached with her before. I actually met her. My dad would tell me, yeah, you know, I know everything about softball. I coached with Dottie Davis. And so, that being said, now he had the credibility to tell me how to play softball or teach me how to play softball because of the amazing coach that she was. So we went back and forth for a while, and it wasn't until my older sister made it to Huron that I finally met this woman that my dad spoke so highly of, and I was not disappointed. From that meeting on, I looked up to her. Coming in as a freshman, not to mention being a female athlete, high school should have been intimidating, but it wasn't. Dottie held me under her wing and guided me through my high school career, and I was lucky enough not only to have her as a physical education teacher, but my softball coach, my athletic director, and my boss. And yes, I still help out with Huron athletics because of her. So she's been stuck with me since as long as I can remember, so I'm sorry about that. As my teacher, she stayed on me with grades. She would constantly be checking them to see if I was doing well. And if she saw me slipping, you better believe I was doing my homework before practice and sitting right next to her to make sure that I did it. As my softball coach, she was one of many that I've had throughout my careers, but looking back, she stands out to me. You know, being there for me, coaching me during every practice, tryout, or for most of the practices and tryouts until she decided to be the athletic director, but that's okay. And she was even there to support us when we won in 2007, the districts, which was the first time in a while. So she's definitely been there for me in terms of softball, and like everyone else had said, having that field named after her is only fitting, especially coming from a softball player, a former softball player. So where did I go? So she was right next to me as well when I signed my letter of intent to go to college. She was one of the people that actually pushed me to go further in my career. She was that encouragement, that driving, one of the driving forces that decided, you know, I should probably further my collegiate career. Now looking back at that time, it reminds me of a quote I heard later in life by Wayne Gretzky: "You miss 100% of the shots you don't take." And that quote reflects her style to a T, because had I not listened to her encouragement, I would have regretted it, definitely. The support from her didn't stop after high school. She drove hours to come watch me play ball throughout my college career and made sure to be there for my last home game as a senior in college. We all can look back on our lives, and as we grow up, we only have a few influential people who really stand out. And that is Dottie to me, or for me. I've learned many life lessons from her, but the biggest I've taken away from her is that she is one of the best hearts, and would go out of her way for anyone. And I could go on and on telling you all about the great stories we've had together and the many times she was there for me, even through the hardest times in my life. but I'll end with this. Dottie, I've always looked up to you as someone I aspire to be someday. You are the reason I am still a part of Huron Athletics. You've made Huron feel like a home, and that I am a part of a family, and that's meant the world to me, and so thank you.
Okay, I just want to take a second. As a teacher, I can't let things go unsaid, and I will come back to what I have written, but Dr. Swift and Dr. Richardson, you may want to rethink being Dottie. It's really not nice up there. Thanks, Dr. Williams, for appointing her athletic director, because she has now found the endless abyss called work at Ann Arbor Huron High School. And I also had the same experience as Kim. The first time I ran across Dottie, and I'm just going to plug myself here, I was a softball player as well and played Major League against Dottie. And somebody said, oh yeah, and I said, well, who is that? And they said, Dottie Davis. And I go, again, who is that? They go, you don't know Dottie Davis? I go, does she know Anita Epperly? And we'll just leave it at that. Oh, except for the one time she did carry my ball bag at a softball tournament. We'll just let that go. I know, right? I was told that I was only allowed 2 minutes and I had to keep it quick, but I'm just going to ignore her as I usually do. Good evening, esteemed board members, trustees, and community. While I know that you have heard how much Dottie has done for this district, community, students, athletes, and colleagues, I just want to let you know that I'm going to go the other direction. I do and have always tried to keep her grounded, as she has much to be boastful about. I always tease her that whenever she is the recipient of an award, that she apparently purchased enough raffle tickets to win. With that, she has won quite a few. For those of you that know us, you know that I try not to give her too much credit for her accomplishments, as I want to make sure she remains humble. However, I was feeling a little nostalgic one day and thought that maybe naming the softball field after her may be her swan song before retiring. Well, as it turns out, it may happen before she retires, as I don't see her leaving here anytime soon. That wasn't the response I was hoping for. However, after this week, it's been kind of tense at our house, so I'm thinking she can work as long as she wants. With this in mind, I did do some research on what having something named after a person in Ann Arbor Public School entails. I contacted my go-to girl, Candy Roselle Williams, as I wanted to keep this a secret from Dottie just in case things didn't pan out and people didn't think highly of her as she thought they did. She suggested that I get in touch with someone on the board. Dottie has the utmost respect for all of her superiors, so I figure I couldn't go wrong with any of the board members. While looking at the list of board members, I just decided to take a chance on Christine Stead. I didn't know Christine, but I contacted her and left a message, and she returned my call immediately because I mentioned Dottie in the message. The ball was now rolling. Through countless hours of emailing, calling, and texting as many people as possible, the letters of recommendation came pouring in. The worst part was not telling Dottie. Lucky for me, she's only focused on work. So when I was reading these letters to myself in her presence, tears streaming down my face due to the profound words of her contemporaries, she didn't notice a thing. While all of you think she pays attention to details, she does, just not me. She does, however, come home and start barking orders, and I inform her that this is not 2727 Fuller. It's my house in Pinckney, you do my job, do what I say. When the process looked like it was winding down, I was talking to Dottie, and she informed me that Dr. Schwamb told her that the softball field was going to be named in her honor. I was kind of taken aback by this because it was supposed to be a secret. She went on to tell me more about her conversation with Dr. Schwamb, and I listened intently. Somewhere in there, Dr. Schwamb told her that I was the one that started this process, and Dottie informed her that it couldn't be possible. Dr. Schwamb told her emphatically that it was Anita, and she needed to let me know that the cat was out of the bag. So Dottie says to me, "Is Dr. Schwamb lying to me?" Apparently, she thinks I'm just a pretty face. I wish you could have seen her face when I told her that I met with Christine Stead, received an email from Dr. Swift, and met Amy Osinski. That was mind-boggling to her because her people are her people. So much for feeling bad about keeping a secret from her. This had just become a very fun game, and I shared with her several of the texts and emails and conversations I had with Christine. I'm still not sure she believes that this is all happening. In all honesty, I do believe that Dottie is not only spectacular at what she does, but she is deserving of every accolade that she has ever received. She works tirelessly and achieves everything that she puts her mind to. She has people that work for her that make her look good, so kudos to all of you. But I'm not sure that they know how much she does behind the scenes. Her phone is never off limits to coaches, students, parents, administrators, or anyone that needs something. I'm the only person that she puts a hand up and says, "Stop talking while Lead's calling." This includes after midnight, 4:30 in the morning on snow days, just to double check to see if practice has to be canceled, weekends or vacations. She is constantly answering email and making trips into Huron because there's water leaking somewhere in the athletic department or on one of the fields. Maybe it's because somebody left a door unlocked or a light on, but her job is never ending, and she does it because she wants the best for everyone around her. I do know that she is truly humbled at receiving the honor of having the softball field named after her. Her first love is softball, and as many of you know, she is one of the world's premier players of all time. In many of our conversations, because this job is going to kill her, she has said that because of this love for softball, she wants her ashes scattered over several softball fields. This is after 7 days of viewing of her funeral, so all of her friends can come. I figure I'm doing Ann Arbor a favor by having her name put on the field instead of her ashes. A special thanks to Candy Roselle Williams, Christine Stead, Dr. Swift, Amy Osinski, Paul DeAngelis, and Michelle Julian. I would also like to thank everyone that took the time to offer their positive words, thoughts, and support through their letters of recommendation for Dottie. There are countless others that need to be thanked, and I'm sorry if I've left you out, but know that you have not gone unnoticed. Through this process, it has truly been a pleasure for me just to see what Dottie means to this district and community, and even though I knew that to begin with. And after this, Christine, I don't think that we're in trouble. Dottie is truly a gem. I'm so glad that there will be more than one diamond at Huron with her name. Congratulations, Dottie. There's no one more deserving of this honor.
Wow, that's what I thought would happen. Truly astounding. Thank you, everyone that shared comments about Dottie. And we'll now move on, I know, to trustees having a brief moment to share their own thoughts about Ms. Davis, and then we will vote. Trustees, I might just go around the horn and check in with you all to see what you might want to share about Dottie. Trustee Manley.
Hello, Dottie. I'm so excited to be able to be a part of this celebration and also to be a part of this naming. I was at Huron as a teacher when Dottie came in 1981, but I was also coaching cheerleaders. So I got to know Dottie pretty well on the field with the cheerleaders. And it was so funny, anytime my cheerleaders got out of hand and I couldn't handle them, I'd say, okay, don't you have Ms. Davis for a teacher? I'm gonna tell her how you acting in here. And I would speak to Dottie, and Dottie would get them straight, no matter what. Dottie was so well loved and admired by the students, the parents, the teachers, and the staff here at Huron. It was, as everyone has said, just wonderful. And she was always supportive of me and the cheerleaders and whatever we wanted to do. And so from the rest of my 10 years as a cheerleading coach, I knew I could always count on Dottie. More recently, Dottie has always been a friend, but more recently, in the last 4 years, I called on Dottie because I was having a lot of back issues, and I knew that Dottie had had back surgery a couple of times, And I said, well, I'm going to ask Dottie because she seems to be doing really well on what to do. So I emailed Dottie. She called me immediately. We met and had lunch and talked about it. She gave me encouragement. I said, well, Dottie, you know, I'm really afraid about this surgery because some people say you have back surgery and you'll never be the same. She said, I feel like a newborn baby. You know, she was just so, you know, it's going to be fine. Don't worry about it. And she told me what I needed to do to have a full recovery. And Dottie, I did follow all of your suggestions, and I believe I have full recovery, so thank you for that. And once again, I consider Dottie a friend. I'll always remember you as a friend and all of the things that you have meant to me over these years, and I'm really happy for this recognition.
Trustee Gaynor.
Thank you. As long as I've been in the district, teaching in the district, I can't say I've known Dottie. I really haven't. However, from the very beginning, and it goes back to 1978, before she was officially hired in the district, I've known of Dottie Davis through her softball career, hearing about her work here at Huron, and certainly as a teacher of Clague the previous 18 years, not hearing mention of Huron River Rats without also hearing about Dottie Davis. Truly, you're one of the reasons we consider our schools exceptional. Thank you so much for your service. This is well deserved.
Trustee Mitchell.
Thank you. Prior to today, I had actually never met Dottie. And when I went to extend my hand and introduce myself to her, she stopped me and said, I know who you are. And I said, wow, okay, well, welcome and congratulations. And then I started sitting here and I was thinking about when we first got this packet. And I went home and I looked at the packet and I said, you know, I just really want to see what the students and the families had to say. Because I can remember being a child and growing up and who was my favorite teacher and what made them my favorite teacher. And when I come to think about it, all the qualities that made that favorite teacher exceptional were the qualities that really had nothing to do with the lesson, but life lessons that you would take with you every day and help you grow and to become a better person and to leave your mark somewhere else with other people. And through these letters, I saw that she touched their lives in ways that other people had not been able to get to. And as a parent and one of those kids who was difficult to get to, thank you. Because you had to break through a wall that was built up over years, and you had to get through that wall and get to that child, that inner child that was growing and cultivating, and you just watered it daily. You don't even know how you did it, I'm sure, but you kept on going and you helped that seed become a tree and produce fruit that could produce other trees. So thank you for being exceptional. And I'm sure Ann Arbor Public Schools has many exceptional teachers, but I tell you, teachers can teach in a district for 23, 30, sometimes 40 years and never touch that inner soul of a kid. So I thank you, and the teachers that are like you, just keep going. You could be a janitor in the school. If you're touching that child's soul and you're watering it daily, keep on going. Thank you.
Thank you.
so
Trustee
much.
Lightfoot.
Thank you so much. I, without apology, am biased beyond reproach when it comes to Dottie Davis. I was a student here at Huron High School, so was Mike. I see him sitting back there. I see you. Now working with our students, we know what it was like to be here with Trustee Manley as a teacher, with Ms. Hunter, who's retired from our district as a teacher, with Ms. Miles as our principal, with Ms. Pageant representing the police department, keeping us out of trouble, and Dottie Davis. So for me to sit here at this stage and at this place and to be able to vote yes, I'm pre-telling how I'm voting for this particular honor. You truly are legendary in your status. You're very genuine, and it's a gift that you give while the rest of us try to figure out how you do it. So I appreciate that. You always gave second chances, and third and fourth and fifth. You believed in some of us more challenged students more than we believe in ourselves sometimes. And I just thank you, because we didn't know what we didn't know as children at that time. You truly are the designer label person to know in this district. You know, Dottie Davis, that's like Versace and Louis Vuitton and Gucci. I appreciate you. You actually answer the phone when I call. And I've heard so many, I thought it was because I was a trustee. But I've heard others say the very same thing, and have Anita say that your phone never goes off. Is very, very telling. I'm just hoping you're not looking to retire, and I know that's selfish, Dottie, but I truly would welcome you on a cane in our district, in our hallways. Thank you so much. I'm one of those students that Dr. Eaddy-Richardson talked about, those students you could find out in the hallway being put out for talking too much. Now those same teachers call me to talk about their pensions. Thank you, Dottie. Thank you, too, for Arthur talking about the complexity of the role you play, because I'm one of those trustees who looked and said when I came on the board, why the heck do we need all these athletic directors? One person should be able to just do the job. And I think Dottie heard me say that publicly, and I got a phone call. And I got it broken down, how complex it is. It actually is. On the outside, it looks a certain way, but I appreciate you for schooling me to go beyond how things look and to understand the complexity of those things and why we have them the way we do. You're so loved. I don't know how you do it. I hope you write a book or a blog about how to be loved like you are, Dottie. I think teachers and instructors and those of us in public education could benefit. You are everywhere 24/7. We rely on you when sirens go off, when it's snow days, when it's facility issues. You're there. And so I just appreciate you. The fact that you created a program for special needs kids, thank you, Arthur, for sharing that with us, because we wouldn't have necessarily known that. We were just given credit for Huron for having the program, but never knowing from which it derived. And so thank you, as a cancer survivor myself, to know that you champion the cause of cancer. Now, you know I'm double down with you on that one. So thank you, Dottie, for that as well. Your integrity has been spoken on. The fact that you coach your coaches, that's powerful, powerful statement. Very true. I thank you for that. When we're getting out of the way, Dottie is getting in position. That's powerful. And that's a true statement for Dottie. And then the last thing I'll say is during election season, Dottie Davis steps up. She's not one of those who considers herself out of politics. She will help get your petition signed. She will help tell you where you're going wrong and hold you accountable even after you are elected. A graceful jock. That's kind of rare oxymoron to a graceful jock. Dottie, you truly are one who walks softly and carries a huge stick that you don't wield very often. But when you need to wield it, we feel it and we recognize it. So just thank you for everything. As a young student all the way to a grown trustee, I appreciate you, and I just hope you stick with us as long as your body will allow. Thank you so much. I saw that one. Ain't no one more year going on. Thank you, Dottie. Thank you so much.
Trustee Kelly.
Thank you. It was more than 20 years after Title IX that I was an 8th grader in a different Michigan district on the middle school track and field team. And in 8th grade, the 8th graders get a chance to try out the high school field events to see what they might like to do the following year. And I said, oh, pole vaulting, that sounds great. Never mind that I'm short and slow and have terrible hand-eye coordination. I thought I'd like to try it. But my coach at the time said, girls can't pole vault. And I said, well, why? And he said, because it'll make it hard to have babies. This is 20 years after Title IX, and he was still using the cliche that had been used for centuries to keep women out of sports. So as that girl who was impacted by attitudes like that, and later as a teen who participated in a high-quality sports program, and as a woman today who continues to reap the benefits of participation in sports, I am deeply honored to recognize you, Ms. Davis, and all of the trailblazers who fought to ensure that all girls and women have access to recognition as athletes, to scholarship and career opportunities, and to the empowerment that sports imparts on those who participate. So I say congratulations, and I say thank you.
Trustee Basket.
Dottie, I'm so honored to be here tonight to lend my vote to the process. You have such clout in our district, and I don't know if you realize it. Coming in here this evening, I saw a couple of students, and they kind of looked a little lost, and I said, are you here for the board meeting? And the student said, no, I'm here for the Dottie Davis thing. Okay. So I said it's in there. When this was first presented, I asked the question quite seriously, why are we doing this now? This is not the year she's going to retire, is it? You know, and Christine said, well, why not? And I said, well, is she healthy? I mean, again, why are we doing this now? And tonight you confirmed you're healthy, and I'm so glad for that. As I said in the previous meeting, you were one of the first employees to welcome me as a trustee. And I can't thank you enough because, as Trustee Lightfoot said, there's a learning process for us too, and you helped develop us. And I knew there were questions that I could always ask you and clarification, and you'd be very honest with me, and I appreciated that. One of the first things I noticed about you, though, were your fabulous shoes. You had a pair of shoes for every outfit, and I never thought about color coordinating gym shoes, right? And I don't see them on this evening, but I know you have a pair of green ones, and blue ones, and pink ones, and purple ones. I'd love to see your closet, you know, your shoes. But thank you so much. And everyone has a Dottie story, and so let me just share mine. I go to Pioneer football games, and for years I followed, and I remember coming to Huron for the Pioneer Huron football game. And it was a long crowd, right, because we were running late because of my partner. And I remember you seeing me and saying, come up here. And I said, great, you know, we can get through the doors. And my partner's like, where are we going? I said, Dottie's getting us in, just follow, you know. And I wore my son's Pioneer leather jacket, you know, and those leather jackets are quite expensive, so I'm going to wear them out. And I remember sitting in the Huron section. You said there were seats over there. And my partner's like, why are we sitting in the Huron section? Number one, there were better bleachers, but most importantly, Dottie said we could sit here. So sit down and enjoy the game. And that's what I did. And I know you often tease me about my Pioneer stuff, but I also say, well, whenever you come up with a Huron shirt, I'll wear it. And you've always asked me the size, and I've never gotten it to you. Size XL, just in case. But Dottie, thank you so much. On a serious note, I am so proud to be able to cast my support for you. As others have said, there are so few trailblazers. And as I have questioned, how many women have we honored in this manner within our district? We can name a few elementary schools, but this is so much bigger. It's so much bigger, and I love how someone called it the Dottie Davis Field. I'd like to call it the Dottie Davis Dream Field because you have made a lot of dreams come true, and I know you'll continue to do so. Thank you so much.
I'll be brief up here, but I'll just say I feel like a very close personal friend of Dottie Davis's, and it sounds like everybody in the room does too. And that's a huge testament to who Dottie is. I see her colleagues here, the other athletic directors, Eve Claire, Lauren Cartwright from our other our competing schools for Dottie, but her colleagues and dear friends who are, of course, here to support her like you all are together as part of a really solid team. When Anita reached out to me, I thought, oh man, of all the things that I was willing to get in trouble with Dottie for, this was it. So it was worth getting in a little bit of trouble, and I apologize, Dottie, but of all the people here that deserve this, and I think Trustee Basket, when we were talking about how many women we've named, especially athletic areas after, and we just didn't have really anything that came to mind. It's time. You're the right person, and you deserve it. So with all the gratitude that is shared in this room for everything you do, for everyone here, and always will, it's my biggest honor to have an opportunity to vote yes for this tonight and see that name forevermore on that field. Trustees, we now move on to voting on this item. So I am happy to entertain a motion to approve the naming recommendation. Trustee Mitchell, second, Trustee Lightfoot. And I will, Ms. Osinski helps keep our notes for us and keep us on task, so I'll repeat that real quick for her. Yep. So Trustee Mitchell approved the motion, and the motion is naming of the softball field at Huron High School, the Dottie D. Davis softball field, in honor of the extraordinary service exhibited by Dottie Davis. Trustee Mitchell motioned, and Trustee Lightfoot seconded. And we'll have a roll call vote when we're ready.
All right. Trustee Basquette?
Absolutely, yes.
Trustee Gaynor?
Yes.
Trustee Kelly?
Yes.
Trustee Lightfoot?
Absolutely, yes.
Trustee Manley?
Enthusiastically, yes.
Trustee Mitchell?
Yes.
And President Stead?
Yes. Trustees, yes, thank you. I would like to invite Dottie up to speak.
I'm sorry to have my back to you, but I'm going to try to get through this, because softball players don't cry. Good evening, honored members of the Board of Education, Dr. Swift, my family, friends, colleagues, and community. I had prepared a speech that I thought was pretty darn good until I started reading it out loud to Anita last night to see what she thought. I should have known that I wasn't going to get very far. As I'm reading halfway through, she's yelling, "Abort! Abort! Abort!" I'm thinking she's just being funny. It's all we do each and every day is live, love, and laugh. She said it sounds too stiff. You need it to come from your heart. So here it goes. For those of you that know me, you know I love life. I love people. I love family. I love being surrounded by people, as you are the spark that ignites me every day. I'm filled with so much gratitude, and I'm overcome right now with so many emotions, it's overwhelming. I could name a million people that have shaped my life and helped me become who I am today. And the great thing about that is all of you are part of that equation. I do want to tell you a little story about how I got to be where I am today. Kind of like Trustee Kelly. It started in high school, Ypsilanti High School, the home of the Braves at that point in time. My guidance counselor asked me, "What do you want to do after graduation?" I said, "Go to college, play sports, and become an orthopedic surgeon." My counselor said, oh honey, girls don't become doctors. They become moms, nurses, or teachers." And at that point in time, I was really disappointed in her response, but little did I know that she gave me the best advice of my life. I became a teacher. As an educator in Ann Arbor for 36 years, who knew that I could affect so many and help lead young adults to be the best people that they could be? To have the Huron softball field named after me is truly part of my legacy that I will cherish forever, because it's associated with the greatest public school system that we have in this nation. I truly love the Ann Arbor Public Schools and what it stands for. And to have a field named for me in my honor, it's just something that I can't even fathom at this point in time. I'm so humbled by this whole experience, humbled by the people that came out to support me tonight, just humbled by belief. This is what's so great about Ann Arbor and sets us apart from all the schools in the nation. We celebrate people and accomplishments each and every day. Not a day that doesn't go by that we see a teacher, student, a board member, someone in the Ann Arbor Public Schools being highlighted with something special that's always going on in the Ann Arbor Public Schools. You see, we have visionary leaders in front of us each and every day that propel our students to being the best in the nation. To the community, you have the best people in front of your children each and every day. Embrace it, love it, and be proud that your children get an Ann Arbor education. Now the best part is all the thank yous. My event workers, if they're still here, but I think they might be out at my lacrosse game. Thank you for making me look good, because you do all the work. And you empower those people by when they say, hey, Dottie, I think if we sell tickets over here and we do this over here, it'll work 10 times better. And I'm like, great, you're the ones doing it. I love that feedback, let's try it. So event workers, you got my back each and every day. My coaches, my heart. And that's why it's been so long for me to say and pull the plug that today's the day. But I will tell you today that my graduation date is going to be June of 2018. So one more year. Trustee Lightfoot. Joe Mathis, thank you for a great story. That you came, and I'll always remember being in the admin office and all the principals were there and they all chimed in. It was the greatest little party we had that afternoon to finish off our admin meeting. So thank you, and the story was so well written. I can't thank you enough. Paul and Amy, oh my goodness. You have so much more important things going on. Oh, maybe something of the passing that we just passed with the Ann Arbor community that you'll talk about tonight, I'm sure. And then to dump this on you guys. Thank you for all your hard work. The Board of Education, oh my goodness. What you do for our children each and every day, and for the staff and people of this district, words cannot express how much gratitude we have for all of you and the job that you guys do. Because it's not fun. Sometimes they love us, and sometimes they disagree with us. And that's what the great thing is about Ann Arbor, is we always come out with a resolution that's best for all, and all kids in particular. My secretary in the office, Michelle Julian, thank you, young lady, for making me look as good as I can, because I can't do all the things that I'm supposed to do unless I have tight support. And she is always there. I'm like, Michelle, done. Michelle, done. Gosh, I love that. It's a great, great ring. Andy Martin, one of my former players, love you, kid. You are what Ann Arbor Huron is, and you have projected yourself in life, and so proud of you. We go way back. My coach, Waleed, so sad to see you leave last year. I cried like a baby, because he is like my son. And we've been together for so long, and we talk, and he'll text me at midnight and say, you still up? And we're like, of course. And we carry on our conversations. And Anita is true. We were driving one time, and my phone rings, and I look at it, and she starts to say something I'm sure that was really important. But I said, oh, wait. I didn't put it in her face. I just said, wait, Waleed's calling. And I did take that phone call. Kim Waddell, my buddy from Pioneer. You're the greatest. What a friend. And you're always there. Every time I ask, you're there. What a sweetheart. Dr. Eaddy-Richardson, thank you. I've admired you from the day I've gotten to Huron. And you are one of the absolute best, and talk about kids' love affair. They love Dr. Eaddy-Richardson. Dr. Williams, you're right, a quarter of a century. I know your family, I know your grandbabies. We go way back. Dr. Schwamb, so fun when she came, and I knew we had an admin meeting, and it was 9 o'clock in the morning. It was about 2 minutes to 9. I'm like, where's Dr. Schwamb at? Where is she at? I'm like, hell, she doesn't know where we are. So I'm like, I'm going outside to get her. Marcus goes, I'll go with you. So we welcomed her with open arms in the parking lot and brought her in and just made her feel welcome, because that's what we do. Thank you, thank you. My family that's here today. I have a little nephew, grandnephew, and his name is Davis. Aww. Davis Cox McMillan. And he's waving to you all right there. So my little niece calls and she says, Aunt Dottie, we're having a baby, we're having a baby. I'm so excited. And later on, when we find out what the sex of the baby is, it's going to be a boy. I'm like, fantastic, I'm going to have a little athlete. And she's like, and we're going to name the baby after you. I'm like, oh, she's being funny like Anita. It's a boy. What is it going to be, Dottie? But I didn't think, and she said, no, his first name is going to be Davis. I about hit the floor crying, because that little guy, to have my name, truly, to have, words can't even say how proud I am for that. And now the Huron softball field, it's mind-numbing. I can't even think. And my oldest brother, Bud's here. Bud, thank you for all you do. Sister-in-law, Pat. My oldest sister, Barb. My nephew, Jason, and his daughter, my niece, Heidi. And back in the back, I have Lisa, my niece, Ryan, my nephew-in-law, or nephew, I just call him nephew. And of course, Mike holding the baby. So without family, I mean, we're nobody. I love family. And they know that this is my extended family, Huron is. And so people are right. Anita does come up here to say hi once in a while when I'm working. And then when I do go home and I'm trying to coach her and motivate her and get an answer to something I want, and I'm coaching her and I'm motivating her, and she's like, stop, this is not 2727 Fuller Road. I'm like, you're right. You're right. But thank you, Anita, my lovely spouse, for all the things you've allowed me to do in my career without ever wavering and saying, you know, you're spending too much time there, what about me? No, she knows what I'm about. She knows what I truly love and I have a passion for. She's an educator, a 30-year veteran in Brighton area schools. So she always says she has a real job because she taught English, and she said that you teach gym. So she goes, who's the pretty one here? Who's the smart and pretty one? That's her classic line. You just, like I say, we laugh every day, but then I turn around and say, but who makes more money, the gym teacher or the English? Anyway.
Check, it doesn't work anymore.
And she's retired, so, for 3 years. So thank you, everybody. This night is truly a blessing. It's an honor. And I'm very, very happy that you all could be here to share this day with me. One that I will never forget this. And thank you to all of you for making it happen. Thank you. I always pick her up. Actually, I do it bigger.
I can pick you up too. Not to be outdone. It's a competition.
Always, every day.
All right, you two. It is my greatest honor to present you this plaque and a personal note that I wrote to you as well. And this is a binder that we've developed that captures, I'm sure, just a few of the comments that people have on behalf of Dottie Davis. Congratulations, Dr. Swift.
And so, Dottie, I've been told that we're loaning this to you for tonight, but we know that a lot of folks in the community are still sending their letters, and if folks have not gotten to your letter yet, there's still time. So I'm supposed to give it to you and then later take it back. Okay. Congratulations.
Thanks.